So y'all, I didn't know whether I wanted to voice this or tell anybody this story, the experience I went through the weekend, but I got to get it out, y'all. I got to get it out. So I was invited to this cookout over the weekend. I drove like 2 hours to the cookout spot, and it was at a pastor's house. So I got there, meeting everybody, sitting around, blah, 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 just talking and whatever. I knew some of the people that was there from the church, because he travels from where he lives to the town I live in. So, y'all, lo and behold, probably about an hour after I got there, I asked his wife where was the restroom. So, y'all, I had trouble finding the restroom because their house is big, huge. So I went in to the house and I went down the hall. First door wasn't the restroom, second door wasn't the restroom. But anyway, I eventually found the restroom, and I assumed nobody was in there, in the restroom. Y'all, when I opened that door, the pastor was in there with another man. Yes, he was in there with another man. And when I say with another man, I mean exactly what I say. With another man. In the act. Yes, in the act. Y'all, let me tell you, I closed that door so fast and I ran out the house so fast. I couldn't get out the house fast enough because I was so scared and I was so shocked. So I distanced myself from the crowd because I was trying to sneak off and get in my car and bring my ass back home. Because damn that, I ain't trying to get into that shit. So I was trying to sneak to my car and get in there, and this girl kept calling me, Miss Carrie, I know you ain't leaving yet. I know you ain't leaving yet. You ain't leaving yet. So I was like, no, I'm trying to get something out of my car. I was lying, right? I said, I'm trying to get something out of my car right quick. I'll be right back over there. And then I heard the pastor's wife. She told somebody, I'm going to just call this person Eric. She told another female, tell Eric bring those corn from out the house so we can put them on the grill. Tell my son bring the corn out the house. Tell Eric, yeah. So Eric brought the corn out of the house. Y'all, while Eric was the pastor's and first lady's son, y'all, my stomach got so balled up and I had to use the bathroom so bad because of the nerve in my stomach. Do y'all hear what I'm telling y'all? The man that I caught the pastor in the bathroom with was his son. How sick can a motherfucker be? And I looked at his wife a long time. And then Eric looked at me. I don't know whether he saw me when I opened that bathroom door. But I know damn well the pastor saw me. Y'all, the pastor was in the bathroom with his own son. Yes, I caught them in the bathroom, in the act, with his own son. So when Eric brought the corn out, and proceeded to start to put them on the grill, I knew it wouldn't be long before the pastor came out. Y'all, if I ain't never run so fast in my damn life, I ran my ass to my car, and I got in my damn car, and I haul ass. I haul ass. I didn't give a damn about nothing. I ran through the red lights, every damn thing, trying to get my ass away from that damn house and out of that damn town. Because I know the pastor saw me. I know he saw me when I opened that damn door. But how sick can a motherfucker be to mess around with their own son? Now, I don't know whether that's his biological son or what. Either or. If he's adopted or what. First Lady still said, tell my son to bring the corn out. Bring the corns out. When he opened that damn door and bring them corn out, y'all, I thought I saw a damn ghost. I ain't gonna lie. But y'all, I ain't never drive so damn fast in my life. I drive so damn fast, and I've been looking up in the rearview mirror, thinking somebody been after me. But that's some sick shit. That's some sick shit. I'm telling you. You gotta watch these damn pastors. I ain't lying. You gotta watch these motherfuckers. You gotta watch these damn pastors. And then people want to know why the church be so thin out sometimes. That's why. That's why. Them pastors, I'ma tell you, you can find the biggest damn devil in the church. But the pastor sleeping with his own damn son, caught them in the act. Y'all, that was a sight. That was a sight to see. I ain't gonna lie. That was a damn sight to see. You supposed to be bringing people the word, but you in the bathroom got your son bent over. Lord have mercy. And the wife out there just laughing and talking and mingling, and she don't know what's going on. Your husband in there messing with your son. But let me tell you, don't nobody invite me to no more damn cookouts. I ain't going. No, I don't care who it is. I ain't going. Don't invite me nowhere else. Nowhere else, because I'm not going. Now, that pastor messing around with his son, that's a sick motherfucker.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, I just want to do a quick lesson on the video, that I featured in the beginning, where pretty much a woman, she was invited, to a cookout, at this church pastor's home, where she was trying to locate the bathroom. And upon trying to locate the bathroom, she caught him, in the act, doing something that he shouldn't have been doing with another man. And not just any man, his son, whether it was his biological son or his adopted son, but either way, she saw them, doing, an immoral act, and then, she was shocked, but these are the things that go on, in these churches, and not even just these churches, man, just these pastors in general, man, they're into that. For the ones that, aren't serial adulterers, they're homos, or pedos, this is what they do. So I'm just going to entitle this lesson, Woe Unto You Pastors. I'm going to bring out a few scriptures, Lord willing. This lesson is edifying, straight to the point. And again, man, This is a very, very sick society we live in where that particular lifestyle is pushed to the forefront, to everyone, because everyone was pretty much beaten into submission to accepting it. When I say everyone, I mean the mass majority, because, the true men of the Lord, we don't accept that lifestyle, because it's off, it's sexually immoral, as it says in the scriptures, and is a sin that's worthy of death, because again, man, that's, the act of, homosexuality is already a sin worthy of death. But then again, also with, you're a father, man, it's sick, You can tell that that woman was generous, like, yeah, just it's like, yeah, slip of the tongue, but, she was genuinely, you know, shocked, you know, like she couldn't believe what she's seen, and again, that's not something you expect, visiting someone else's home, for a cookout. But again, this is what these pastors are into, man. A lot of them are homosexuals, you know, and this is what they do. They mess with young men. And little do they know that there's a penalty for that, you know. So I'm going to get the book of Leviticus, chapter 20. It's like here, not 20. But I am going to get Leviticus 20, but I'm going to start with Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 22. And it says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination." And this is clear and straight to the point, man. You're not supposed to lie with mankind, meaning if you're a man, you weren't supposed to deal with another man how you would deal with a woman, meaning you're not supposed to have sex with another man if you're a man, and then vice versa. You women, you aren't supposed to deal with other women. And again, this man was caught in the act by this woman. She seen what she seen, and she got up out of there. And I don't blame her, because again, that's just not something you expect to see. Again, you're going somewhere, to have a cookout, eat food, have a good time, whatever. But upon her just trying to locate the bathroom, because again, a lot of these pastors, again, they have a lot of money. They are rich. So she said, she got lost, in their home, and then she said, after that, they came out as if, nothing happened, and she said she felt as if the pastor seen her, which you probably did, but at the same time, a lot of them, they're never going to stop doing what they're doing until the Lord takes them out. Like take T.D. Jakes, for instance. It is, is came out that he was attending those Diddy parties, man. And he wasn't ashamed of it, and he never denied being a homosexual either. Oh, well, even if those things were true, I'm covered by the blood of JC and this and that. Like, yo, that's the one thing you Christians love to say. You love to do these, wild, crazy things, commit all types of sins and abominable acts and just say that you're covered by the blood of the Lord. No, it doesn't work like that, man. Now, though our Lord Yahushua did die for the sins of Israel, or did die to cover the sins of Israel, it starts with the elect, man. Because the wicked of our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're going to die in your sins, So in reality, Yahushua's sacrifice was only for the elect. Again, it is for all of Israel, but it's primarily for the elect, man. Because 2/3 of you refuse to repent, and turn from your wicked ways, which is why, again, a lot of you are going to get caught up in these last days when the Lord start pouring out judgment, So now I'm going to jump to Leviticus, the 20th chapter, and verse 13, and it says, "If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood should be upon them. And right, man, they were caught by this woman. Now, in the ancient world, if those two men were caught in the act, they would have been, stoned to death, because again, that's the penalty for, that particular lifestyle and doing that particular act. Because you heard her say, man, she had him bent over, man. So this, man, like I don't understand it. I know why, because men literally have, wives and children, but it'll be messing with a guy on the low. I never understood that, which I understand why they do it, just to, cover up their image, just so people won't view them as being, a mo. But at the same time, they know this, so they do that as a front because they're still on a down low, which today in 2025, man, it is not surprising, which, like certain of these men out here are, on the alphabet team. I'm just going to say, is a lot of guys out here, man, that's into that madness, but again, those two men committed an abominable act, and then not only just, with another man, it was with his own son. So that makes it, even worse, man. The fact that, you're, it's just sickening, man, because you feel exactly where that woman is coming from. Because again, man, like it's sickening, of all people, your own son, whether your biological son or adopted son, it still doesn't matter. And that woman doesn't know anything, that they're doing. But if she ever sees this woman's video, then she is gonna know. And this is the reason why we have the law, statutes, and commandments, because it speaks against the things like this, because these particular things that the law, or that it says in the law that it tells us not to do, is because there's, it's like, I'm a little tired, so I might say something where it's funny, but we have the law, statutes, and commandments, to separate us from the other nations, because the other nations were doing these particular acts. One people in particular, I'll name it the Canaanites, man. They were known for being moles, or just the Hamites in general. But, these are things that the Canaanites were doing, So just in a roundabout way, it's told to us in the law, whatever you see the heathen nations doing, don't do that. Anything that they do, you don't do, because again, man, their lifestyle is off, man. It is. And that particular thing that they were doing was extremely off. And this is why Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire, because of that particular lifestyle, man. You had the men of Sodom and Gomorrah. Just like it said, you had old and young out there, which, those men were trying to deal with those angels, which they didn't know, that they were angels. But again, man, that's how burnt in their lust they were, that they didn't care, The angels even smote them with, blindness, and he's still trying to find Lot's door, So again, man, excuse me, Slakia, if Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire, what do you think is going to happen to America when it takes after the same customs as Sodom and Gomorrah? So America is not exempt. It's going to get that same judgment, man. And a lot of you that don't die during the time of Jacob's trouble, from these various fashions, whether you get drafted to go and fight during World War III, you get slain by the sword, which the modern sword is the gun, if you don't die of famine, or if you don't get attacked by a wild animal, you're going to feel that fire, man, because a lot of you niggas out there need to feel that fire. And that nuclear fire isn't, man, them nukes ain't no joke. You know, they're going to burn at 100 million degrees Celsius. These missiles are going to burn hotter than the sun. You know, it was a pretty hot summer this year, man. It's going to be way, way hotter than that once that fire comes to this place. You know, so again, they want to make this too long, just hitting the main points. Because again, that is a very sick thing, man. For a man to sit here and look at his own son, you know, and man, this is why we need the Lord. This is exactly why we need the Lord to come and deliver us from this place, man, because these people in this place, America, are only getting worse and worse the longer we're here. You know, so I'm going to get the book of Romans chapter 1 and verse 24. And it says, wherefore Yahweh also gave them up unto, it's like Yahweh also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, i.e. sodomy, you know, doing these particular acts. It's like she said, she's seen them. This man had his own son bent over. Like, that's madness, you know. So the Lord gave them over to that, man. They dishonored their bodies. Meaning, again, a man bending over for another man is off. A man bending over for a woman is off. You know, a man isn't supposed to get bent over. He is supposed to do the bending, you know, to a woman. But again, this lifestyle has been widely accepted here in America. It's widely celebrated. Every year in June, they have a whole month. The month of June is dedicated to, you know, the people of that community, you know, to celebrate their madness, to openly declare their sin to Sodom, which I'm going to grab that as well, you know. But verse 25, Romans 1 and 25, it says, who changed the truth of Yahweh into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, was blessed forever. 12. And it says, for this cause Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lusts one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves their recompense of their error, which is meat. And you have that happening. You have women leaving men to go and deal with other women, and you have men leaving women to go and deal with other men, you know. And just like it says, man, you know, burnt in their lust. Obviously that man and those two men, they were burned in their lust, man, you know, doing things that they should not have been doing, you know, because it was unseemly, like it says, you know. And it's a vile affection, you know. And it says to receive the recompense of their error, you know, that recompense of their error, you know, which is, you know, those receiving these particular STDs, you know, the HIV, you know, put the 3 letters together, you know, just in case YouTube tries to take this video down. But, you know, just like that, why do you think they have commercials on it, man? You know, pills to try to prevent it. Like, no, that's an off lifestyle. You're not supposed to be doing that act, man, because again, it breeds disease that does not bring forth life. You know, a man with another man doesn't bring forth life. A woman with another woman, you know, that's not how it works. You bring forth life by way of a heterosexual relationship between a man and a woman, you know. But again, this is what America promotes, you know, this, and this is what goes on in these churches, that, you know. Now, is it every church? No. But again, the majority of them have this going on in them. So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 9, and it says, the shore of their countenance thus withers against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not, one to their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. And indeed, man, woe unto that both of those men, because again they declared their sin as Sodom, and then they just went and did this particular act, and act as if nothing happened. And that woman, she was shocked. You can tell she was really shocked by what she's seen, and rightfully so, because again, it's a sick thing to see, and this is why we need the Lord to come and deliver us out of here, because again, these things are only going to get worse, which are going to do another, madness in modern day Sodom soon, Lord willing, just to go into, just the madness that I've been seeing, this week and even last week as well, but again, that's a sick act. You're not supposed to do that. If you're a man, you're not supposed to deal with another man, especially your own son. If you're a woman, you aren't supposed to deal with another woman, because again, that is the sin that is unto death, man, So come up out of that lifestyle if you're in it. If not, the Lord is going to destroy you, So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till next time I say, Shalom.